In this series of videos, I'm working through a chapter of a very ancient Buddhist text known as the Lankavatara Sutra. And the chapter I'm working through is the final chapter, which is a verse summary, a summary in verses. It's a summary, but I think it's about a quarter as big as the main body of the text, and it's regarded as the work in itself. So we've got through quite a few verses, and we're coming up to verse 500. And very often these verses describe our immediate situation, which is one of limitation. And sometimes the verses point us to something beyond this, beyond limitation, to what we could call liberation. So roughly speaking, we can say there's these two kinds of verses. And this is the dynamic of enlightenment practice. Sometimes we come back to this liberated perspective, which is when we realize the true nature of our essential awareness, the awareness that's hearing this. But then what happens is we get caught up once again in the workings of our mind. Basically what we get caught up in is the pattern of our moods, and we forget this liberated realization, even though it's so clear and obvious and wonderful. We forget it and get caught up in our grubby little moods. Anyway, verse 500 is pointing us once again to something beyond this. There is something that is not to be seen by the discrimination of its being, nor is it to be known as non-existent, such as the self-essence of all things. So, discrimination, this is the word that's used a lot, and this basically describes the workings of the mind. Our attention gets drawn to various things, pleasant or unpleasant. Certain things are presented to us, we need to deal with them, we engage with it, and then something else is presented to us, we engage with it, we deal with it, and so on. And along with that is the undercurrent of our mood tone, our moods. But usually there's a basic mood tone. And we often view the world in terms of this basic mood tone. So this is the pattern, this is the limited situation that most of us are caught up in most of the time. But there's an option. There's something which is outside this whole process of seeing the world in a certain way and feeling it to be this way. We see the world in a certain way, we discriminate the world in a certain way, in accordance with our mood tone. And in this way the mood tone is reinforced. So the mood tone is always being reinforced because this is how we believe the world is. But the world is simply in accordance with our mood tone. But there's something else. There's something else which doesn't fit into that dynamic. And it's not something that can be discerned by the mind. There's something which has got lost in this whole process, and that's the fact of the awareness that's hearing this. This isn't something that the mind can discriminate. In order to get to this awareness, we have to step back. We have to step back from our mind step back from our moods, step back from our discriminations. And our discriminations are our understanding of how the world is. We need to step back from all that. It can be difficult or it can be easy. It depends how enmeshed we are at a particular moment in our moods. I woke up this morning and I wasn't in a good mood. I've been experiencing a lot of stiffness in my body, problems with mobility. Sometimes it doesn't bother me so much, but sometimes it really gets me down. And I've got a little project, well actually it's not that little, that I'm undertaking. I'm opening a gallery downstairs from where I live, which is something which I'm excited about doing, but I've been dragging my feet about it for so long. I don't quite know what the problem is there. I think I'm quite good at coming up with ideas, but I don't like to put them into practice. It's always a bit scary putting them into practice. Anyway, I was hoping to get it open today. I was hoping to get the gallery open today. So it left me feeling a bit disgruntled this morning rather than excited, feeling disgruntled. It's almost like I don't want to open this thing. Anyway, my mood wasn't so good. And I have the habit of recording these videos. There seems to be a forward drive to do this. It's because there's quite a lot of these verses. I think there's about 900 of them. So it's taken a while to get through it. Although there's no rush, I suppose. But still, my mood, as you might have gathered, isn't particularly focused. And there's lots of other things I thought I should be getting on with rather than record this video, rather than enter into this text. But it's quite good because there is this compulsion to record this video. Therefore, there's a compulsion for me to get beyond my mood, to get beyond my concerns, to get beyond my mood tone. And I was looking at my mood tone before recording this, because it's summertime here in England, and we don't often get good summers, but it's nice and sunny. I've cut back the number of hours I'm doing my night shift job. I've got this gallery on the go. It should all be very exciting. It should all be exciting. And yet here's my grumpy mood. I thought, this can't be right. This can't be right at all. And the question surfaced, which often surfaces, do I need medication for this grumpy mood which seems destined to plague me? So this is what I was dealing with. And coming back to the video, it gives me the opportunity to step back from it, to come back to simple awareness. And it's such a relief. It's so restful, so peaceful. It's as if I've bypassed my personality. So it's not part of my discriminatory processes. I can let it all go. I can let all thoughts go. Let all concerns go. Come back to what I described in the previous video as the presence of the world, and be in pure witnessing So we're told that this is not something non-existent. It's very, very real. In fact, compared to it, everything else is simply stories. Such is the self-essence of all things. And this is something you can realize for yourselves. We might quibble about the term self-essence because we're often told to realize the egolessness of all things. But the self-essence is that fundamental reality which we can return to at any moment, but which we're also in the habit of forgetting. So this self-essence isn't some underlying reality. It's rather like the dream realization. You're in a dream, there's lots of things going on. You might be being chased up a staircase by a tiger, only to find that there's a locked door at the top of the staircase. There's no underlying reality to this. It's just a dream. There's no substratum. So the self-essence is this realization that we need not be emotionally caught up in the details of the discriminatory mind, just as in the dream we discriminate a tiger, staircase, locked door, me, terror. We need not be concerned with that, because it's all of the one nature. It's of the nature of dream, of mirage. It's a story of consciousness which projects itself outwards and creates a reality that it gets lost in. But as enlightenment practitioners, we come back to consciousness itself, to awareness itself. This is the self-essence of all things. This is suchness.